SA Hip Hop Digital Media is a classroom full of students that are more focused on a popularity contest than their books. And the most unpopular student last night told them that what they're doing is stupid and they need to focus on their books. Welcome to Weltic Wednesdays. I'm your host, Unk. This is the conversational portion of Unk's Corner. If you mess with the content, please do like the video, subscribe to the channel. Let's get straight to it. So what I mean by that is this, right? Let me set the scene. Let me set the context, right? On the 1st of December 2025, I released a list that was compiled by myself and two of my Unk's Corner constituents. And that list said top 10 influential SA hip-hop commentators of 2025, of which the list was the first of its nature. So essentially, me and my constituents had pioneered something that wasn't there. And when we dropped that list on the 1st of December 2025, that list caused an uproar. Now, the purpose of that list was to cause conversation, more so than an uproar, was to create conversation around the validity, the placement, and essentially the impact of different hip-hop commentators, right? And it did that. A conversation was had. Certain hip-hop commentators believed that the list was valid. Some believed that the list is not. Some were asking themselves why they weren't there, and so on and so forth. So the conversation was created. And I had thought the conversation essentially as dissipated, right? Then I get tagged on Twitter by a commentator by the name of Xander Eagle, right? Yesterday afternoon, right? And Xander Eagle tags me and says, hey, I'm doing a space to confront what seems to be a beef between you and Sihle IV. I wouldn't call Sihle IV a commentator. I think Sihle IV is a popular social media person that has an affinity for hip-hop, but I don't think Sihle IV has ever said he's a hip-hop commentator, nor has Sihle IV ever said his positioning is one of a hip-hop commentator. I think he's a social media person that has an affinity to SA hip-hop, and he will talk about SA hip-hop whenever he wants to talk about SA hip-hop. However, I had said some things about Sihle IV that, hey, if you're with us, be with us. If you're not with us, then maybe do your thing. Of which he clarified on that space that, hey, he didn't say necessarily I'm not a hip-hop commentator, but his positioning and his sentiment was, hey, I will do whatever I want, because essentially mine is not to do as a hip-hop, mine is to run my page whichever way I decide to run my page, which is fair. Now, does it mean, am I going to stop making videos and expressing my opinions in as far as what he says about SA hip-hop or in regards to SA hip-hop? No. My job is a SA hip-hop commentator. However, right, Xander Ego tags us and is like, hey, let's jump onto the space and whatever. So we jump into the space, and when I jump onto the space, I'm live on TikTok. And I jump onto the space, and essentially we discuss this. So I explain, hey, this is what's going on. Only to find out that the conversation is actually about the list. Right. A month later in the new year. Right. And so I explained the list, I explained my reasoning for the list and whatever. And a lady by the name of Eats, she seems to be popular amongst the Twitter zeitgeist, amongst the SA hip-hop lexicon out in the streets, seemingly. She comes on and then she airs her grievances. And essentially I hear her grievances, but I explain to everybody, hey, listen, I give it up the way that I give it up. I understand your guys' grievances, but I still stand on my square 10 toes down. And as I stand on my square 10 toes down, I can appreciate your grievances, and maybe moving forward, right, we can find a bridging agent, right, bridge the gap. However, my list remains my list. If you're not on my list, now you are in my periphery, and I'll include you on my list the next time. The conversation takes off because she doesn't particularly like how I give it up. She doesn't like my stance. She doesn't like my temperament. She doesn't like what I said about other creators and commentators and whatever the case may be. And there's essentially a misunderstanding in as far as timelines and whatever. The conversation turns into she's uncomfortable with the boisterous nature of that nigga from UNC'S Corner. And the conversation kind of blows up. Right? And as the conversation blows up, my stance remains my stance. But Xander goes on to say, Unc, I don't want us to create a divide between Twitter hip-hop and TikTok hip-hop. And I'm like, I don't think there's ever been a divide between the two. And he expressed that you may have created the divide unbeknownst to you by some of your comments. And I said, I'm going to give it up how I give it up. However, if you want a bridging agent or to bridge the gap between the two, we can do that. You can touch me at any point in time, pause, right? Or you can contact me at any point in time, whether through TikTok, the same way that you contacted me through Twitter, whatever the case may be. If you want to talk, we can talk, right? And then essentially that space ends, right? It doesn't reach the conclusive end that Xander wanted it to reach. However, Xander comes to my TikTok live, and then we end up having this conversation on my TikTok live, and essentially we get to a proper conclusive end, right? But now here's why I say SA hip hop digital media, right, is a classroom where students are playing a popularity contest instead of focusing on their books, and the most unpopular student, that being me, told them that what you are doing is stupid, maybe focus on your books. It's because what I realized yesterday is that the validity, right, and the sentiment of said commentators is heavily based, right, on what people tell them. It's also heavily based on the relationships that they build. It's heavily based on how much they're outside and how many gigs they attend and so on and so forth, right? And essentially it's a popularity contest, whereas the job is to essentially sustain the culture the best way possible. And if you sustain the culture by creating value, whichever way you create value, whether you create value by creating conversation, you create value by creating a thought process, you create value by creating a standard of consumption, a standard of content creation, and a standard of curation, right? The value dictates your validity. Not how many people like you, not how many people you're friends with, not how many times you're outside, none of that. But because the metric of validity in SA hip-hop is based on popularity contests, cliquiness, and being friends with people, what happened yesterday, what I realized is that because I give it up the way that I give it up, and I don't care much about anything else but how I give it up, because I feel like, and not even I feel like, right, the work that I've done in the past 360 something days, almost 370 days, has proven the impact that I have on SA hip hop as a hip hop commentator, whether you like it or not, good, bad, or indifferent, right? It proves that I'm not doing it the same way as everybody else, because I'm not standing with anybody else but myself. And the reason why I could stand by myself and do this brick by brick from the ground up is because I service the culture in the most honest way I can. I'm not trying to be friends with nobody. I'm not trying to be cliquey with nobody. If I see you, I see you. If I don't see you, I don't see you. But furthermore, the validity of my platform is based on the feedback that I get from the people who consume the platform and are part of the culture itself. Whether you like me or you don't, the fact that you have an opinion about me is because I am the culture. As you are part of the culture too, and you are the culture, right? We are both part of the culture, and we service the culture in different ways. But unfortunately, the way that you measure your validity in the culture, whomever, right, this message applies to, is based on popularity contest metrics versus servicing the culture. And if you're not popular, right, to you, you think you're not valid. If you don't have this many views or this many retweets, I was told that my shit only goes off on Twitter because certain people retweet them. Do I care? I don't care. Because mine is not that. Mine is to service and archive my opinion and my servicing of the culture, Whether 10 people watch it or 10,000 people watch it. Mine is to service the culture. Preacher calls me the necessary chaos. And the reason why Preacher calls me the necessary chaos is because he understands that mine is to do what's necessary even though it's not popular. Mine is not to play the popularity contest. Mine is to service the culture in the most honest way I can. Right? And my work for the culture does not define who I am. Now, what's the problem with SA hip hop? Commentary, what's the problem with SA hip hop? Digital media, what's the problem with SA hip hop? Opinions, right? And even to a certain extent, the standard of consumption. The standard of consumption in SA hip hop is based on popularity contest, is based on the most popular opinions, is based on groupthink. I remember when I made a video and I said Zinga is one of them, right? And everybody was going crazy. And Zinga himself said on the comment section, I see you're not afraid to go against the grain. I'm not afraid to go against the grain because essentially the grain is not mine. I'm not cut from the same cloth as the grain. And unfortunately, this agitates people. I'm here to tell you, I will continue to agitate you. If you do not buckle up and understand what the corner is all about, I'm here to agitate you. Now, if you want to be part of the conversations that we are having, or if you want me to be part of the conversations that you are having, by all means, I have an open door policy, right? You can always come, we can always discuss. However, using Xander Ego as an example, Xander Ego had the respect, at the very least for me in the corner, to come to the corner, right, and discuss his grievances on the corner because it didn't work out on his platform. And Xander understood my perspective, understood that my perspective of that list won't change. That list will remain the same. That list essentially is a manifestation of my periphery, right? That list was supposed to create conversation, and it has created the intersectionality between Twitter and TikTok hip-hop commentators. Now, moving forward is to create a solid and unified front in as far as TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram commentators alike. But mine is not to appease to anybody's popular opinion. Mine is not to play the popularity contest, because mine is not to become the coolest guy out. I've been cool for a very long time, right? Those who know my bumper, they know my bumper. If you don't know my bumper, I don't care. But I've been cool for a very long time. So it doesn't serve any purpose for me to try play cool contests. I will say here, on this here platform of mine, I respect every commentator out, even those who are not on the list. It's included. P that G, Brando, Xander, SA Hip Hop Reloaded, Post, Mswanko, Swisher, Preacher. Everybody that's doing it, I respect it. Illy. Everybody that's doing it, I respect it. I respect it because we got to do it. We may have a difference in opinion, and I will express it. I'm not afraid to express my difference in opinion. If you take it personally, that's on you. If you want us to talk human to human, as I told each that I apologize from a human perspective, how I made you feel as a human being. I do not apologize as a commentator for you not being on my list. Know what I said after my list. I do not apologize. Matter of fact, I vehemently stand on my square after that. However, with that being said, though, I do respect everybody and the efforts that they put in. I think it moves as a hip hop forward. I think we can create a unified front. We don't need to like each other, but we can work towards one thing. And using the analogy that I used earlier on, our class can get 100% pass rate. You may You may not agree with the fact that I'm the most unpopular student in the class, and I'm telling y'all playing a popularity contest is stupid instead of actually figuring out how to get 100% class pass rate. Right? You may not agree with that. But that is the truth. Ours is to get 100% pass rate as a class, not to rate who's more popular. And that list illustrates in 2025, according to my perspective, opinion, and periphery, who got the good marks and who didn't. And if you didn't get the good marks, right, or if my periphery dictates that you didn't get the good marks, but you did, you can come show me your test paper and we can essentially figure out moving forward. But if not, that's on you. I'm not here to service ego. I'm not here to service how people feel. Nor am I here to service what people think of me. That's on you. My platform is mine. The logo is mine. The community is mine. And the corner is all ours. God bless the corner and everybody on it. But I need to say this. I'm not here to make any friends. I'm not here to play popularity contests. Mine is to service the culture. And there is no TikTok versus Twitter hip-hop beef. None of the sort. That was never the purpose. That's how you guys took it, right? Largely because that is essentially the sentiment of how you guys do things that side. Very braggadocious, very bravado-filled, very boisterous, yet when a boisterous person from the other platform comes through, emotions run high. I can respect it. I can respect it because we are all humans. However, maybe that should also show you that conduct yourself in a different way. I just want to say big shout out to Xander Ego for the space. It created great content, it created great conversation on Wild Take Wednesdays. But I didn't think it was the most tasteful thing to do to air out those recordings. So I thought I should address it with a standalone video. Again, open door policy. You can come talk to Unc in any way, shape, or form. You know where to find me. Ours is to stand as a united front. And in standing as a united front, they are the politics of SA hip-hop commentary that we need to go through. We do not need to see eye to eye, but ours is to make sure that the main mission and the main goal is to restore and sustain the integrity of SA hip-hop culture, not industry. SA hip-hop culture, because the industry is a commercial system. The culture is a system of the people. That is what I wanted to say. It's been great. It's been Wild Take Wednesdays. I am your host, Unc. It's Unc's Corner right here. If you do like the message, if you do like the video, leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, follow me everywhere, and I'll see you guys next video. God bless.